evening, everyone. Chris, are you okay? Thank you very much. Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming on this lovely November evening and missing the Scott Primary School fireworks again.
Oh, that's what I could hear. I just really heard
One day we'll have a meeting on, it doesn't clash with the fireworks, but
it is nice and warm in here, isn't it?
it's quite warm. Yeah, don't worry about that. Anyway, thanks for coming along. First of all, are there any apologies for absence?
Yes, Mike Barlow, Corinne and Charles Royden, and Stephen Moon is going to be late. He's got another meeting, so he'll be here after that.
Okay, we know those. Thank you very much. Item number 2, declarations of interest in items on the agenda. Have you received any written requests?
No.
Nope. So there's nothing to consider.
No.
Great. Item number 3, to agree the minutes of the meeting held on the 6th of October, which have been circulated. Any comments on the minutes? Everyone happy with the minutes? Remember that far back? Okay, accept the minutes. Thank you. Agree those. Thank you. Public open session.
Can I just, on that, before we start?
Yeah.
I did get a little report back from the police. So they said the speed awareness van was requested for Avon Drive and Waveney Avenue, and that has been authorised. I've certainly seen it in Waveney Avenue 2 or 3 times.
Oh, so this is a police update?
Yes, it's a police update, as I whipped past. But yes, because I emailed them, so this is the obvious place for now to put it, I think. Deployment of the van will start imminently, which it has done, hasn't it? Yeah. This van captures speeding motorists and shows data with police and warning letters are sent to drivers. And then it says we're seeking speed watch volunteers. If anybody is interested, please contact Charles Royden, as he's been sent the relevant starter pack information. And that's it.
Have you read, it's late as usual, but our report, because Charlie has put quite a bit in about the speed.
I don't think I saw it before I came out.
Today.
Yeah.
Speed came today.
What, during the day?
Yeah.
Or,
this evening.
Or this evening? Well,
anyway, it's here.
Right, I probably left to set off.
I'll give you this copy after.
Well, what I'll do is when I see it, I will then put it on the website.
Right.
Okay. That's it now.
Okay.
Now.
And there's no police attending tonight?
No, that's why they sent a report.
Right, okay.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that whole thing afterwards, and are we after the public open session, the speeding thing, or what is it, or not?
Well, I guess it ought to be correspondence, really.
Need to speak up so that people can hear.
Sorry, I'm just saying, it ought to be correspondence.
What? What, the police report?
The police, yeah. Unless we don't have it on the agenda, do we?
Okay, well I thought I'd mention it
Yeah,
there.
That's it.
Okay.
Right. Okie dokie. Thank you. Moving on then to public open session. And we've got one member of the public.
That's it.
Good evening. Do you want to speak?
If I make it at the wrong meeting, then I don't know to see what you think. Shall we hear what the open allotments?
Your letter, your email rather, is referred to under correspondence on our agenda under the last item, which I did circulate. But there's nothing to stop you speaking at this one and the allotments. So.
But if you do speak, could you speak up, because a few of us are hard of hearing?
And we can't see you.
Well, you do need to be aware that you've got to...
And we have got recording going here, by the way, as well.
So usually the public aren't part of the recording, are they? Because it's live.
Can you not stop them?
No, because it's live.
Oh, where's it going?
But you're fine.
The world, the internet. Chris, please pause it and resume, or is that breaking the technology?
No, it's live and it's live streamed. You can't stop it.
Well, then we've got to have public.
Well, yes, but not in line of vision.
Yeah. If you keep on that side, and then
you're okay.
Sure,
yeah. Okay.
It's just about behaviour on Waveney Green that's continuous.
It's still going on. Okay. So you've got your recent letter.
Email, yes,
Email,
which I did
which has been circulated, and again, I guess it's down to the allotments committee to decide what they want to do about it.
There's a certain bench where youths gather. A lot of people around Brickhill have noticed them. They start at the shops. It's a typical group of teenagers that there's obviously illegal substances being smoked. Very loud for me and my neighbours. I think the council cut back all the bushes last week, which in a way it's just made it worse because now you can actually see all the green as well as hear them. I've requested before for the bench to be removed. We've had new benches go in, which are a little bit further down, so I don't know if that would make any difference now that the bench is moved, but but if you can probably hear this. This is kind of taken literally 20 minutes ago. This is shouting.
And that's from your house behind
That's
the...
literally on my driveway,
Yeah.
but obviously the cops are there, but you can hear everything.
Yeah.
And in the summer it's terrible, because obviously you've got your windows open. I've obviously emailed Sue and I've copied in the police, but the police haven't really seemed to acknowledge the email or anything.
Okay. So we had, just everyone's information, we had a discussion in the allotments committee a couple of weeks ago, and we have gone to the police. Sue have written to the police about it, and he had a response, I think. But do you want to...
We have, and the other option we thought, cut back the trees, was the other option we thought of. But we have got the new benches in, the new bench, which is pretty close to that one, and at some point those benches, the old ones, do need to come out. And I was going to suggest anyway that the other ones, the ones that are benches, are replaced next year, and we think about that in the budget. But that seat is pretty tatty. It's not the most pleasant of seats, and there is one very close by, the new memorial one, and there is another one further on the green. I would have thought there's no problem in looking to remove that one. And then next year look at removing the other seats and putting new ones in, not there, but elsewhere.
Sorry, are we talking about allotments or the green?
The green.
Green.
Why are you talking about allotments committee?
That's the committee that looks after
Do
the
they run
open
off the
spaces.
green?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, I'm with it now, because I was thinking, one minute I'm hearing allotments, next minute I'm hearing green. Okay,
But the issue is on the
they've got it
green.
on the green, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Have the local police not responded? Our local bodies?
Well, they have, but they've not done anything and not come back with any, and I've gone back to them and said, are they actually doing anything? I did go into CCTV, I went into CCTV control to see what could be seen from the camera that's on Avon Drive. Now, of course, as is typical, you can't see all the bench. You can see a bit of it, but there is something in the way. But of course, what you can see is anybody moving around. They've got to get there in the first place, haven't they, unless they sort of appear.
I am surprised they're not responding to that particular issue, because if we know when they're there, is it sort of same time most nights?
Mostly, yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't
very
responded. I mean, well,
Well, they've
but
said
normally
that
they would
they've
come.
said that they've done patrols, but they've never seen
never called
anybody. No.
So they're going the wrong time.
Well, I don't know.
Well, so can we take it up again with them? It's still continuing as we've just heard. Let's.
I think with the new bench, it is very near the particular bench, but in hindsight it's a little bit further down and not actually in line with our houses, so I don't know if that would make it a little, I would be probably good about here, but this particular bench is in line with all the residents, which is like on our driveway. If the shoes weren't there, it'd be like looking into the bench.
Francis Grove, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's where the little toddler,
Yeah.
you know, the little multi-unit, there's a bench
Yeah.
literally behind it.
Okay.
Could I
Absolutely.
stick my oar in?
Go for it.
Let's get rid of that bench, right? Just get rid of the bench. It is tired, old, wooden, half-rotted, unsuitable, and lowers the tone of the whole green, particularly compared to the new benches that have just been put in, which, by the way, look fantastic, right? Not only that, it's sitting in a pool of mud. So no one can actually get, it's not on hard standing, it's just on grass, which is now mud. Right, so it's unsuitable. Just get rid of it. Don't move it, get rid of it. chop it up, give it to somebody for a bonfire, just get rid of it.
And we'll move somewhere else. Yeah,
Okay.
probably a good idea.
That's a
Is that a
okay.
proposal?
Who knows what's
Proposed by-
That's what I'm proposing.
Proposed
Just
by
get rid of
Alistair.
the bench.
Seconded.
Seconded by Stuart. Do you want an old bench? Alistair?
Well,
No, sorry.
I'm going to do a bit of firewood. If it helps, I'll go around there with my hammer tomorrow and sort it out. But yeah,
We've got a okay. We've got a so this is going slightly.
Right, so who seconded it?
Stuart.
Stuart,
Yeah.
there's
Oh,
loads of
Paula
stuff.
did at the
Paula did it.
start.
Paula
Stuart.
was first.
Well,
Oh, whatever.
does it
Paula's-
matter really?
It's been seconded, and we're slightly out of order in a way, but
So,
happy to
but-
take the sorting
Thank
out.
you.
Right,
Thank you.
it's revolt.
And as a result, I'm going to co-opt you now onto the allotments committee.
You'll be lucky.
Is everyone okay with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Peter,
Can I
sorry,
just make
before we.
a comment? It doesn't occur just in the evening or at the benches. My granddaughter at 4 o'clock, 4:30 time, went home across the green a few weeks ago, and they're all congregating there, and the smell was atrocious. And then a week later, my son-in-law came to our house from my granddaughter's, and that was about 7 o'clock at night. They weren't on the bench, but they were all hanging around, and again, terrible smell of drugs. So it's early evening, not just late at night and on the bench.
What's the age?
It's after school time as well. When the little kids come out of Brickhill Lower, you have to walk past the bench. And
Yeah.
There's a
everyone-
group of about 15.
They're-
I
they're
met them on the
They're
group.
older teenagers,
Yes.
aren't they?
They
Yeah,
are.
I think someone probably come from Thomas More.
Well,
Oh, wow.
I saw
It's just guessing.
I saw the same group. I know the group because I spoke to them on Waverley Green because they were in the process of uprooting the posts.
Okay.
And so I did have a word. There was about 15 of them. The same group I saw today at Brickhill Drive shops, waving, of course, at CCTV cameras. But it's the same group, so they all have backpacks on, so it's lunchtime. So it looked like they'd come from somewhere, either out of college, sixth form college, whatever it is, but they'd come from somewhere, and they were then headed off round by All Nations Church and heading towards Waverley Green direction. So I don't know which school they're from, but that's where they are. They come for fish and chips, they'll come for chips at lunchtime.
Can I ask a question? When this is happening around the end of school time, are you able to identify the uniforms at all to know where they are coming from?
No, these particular ones after school, they're not in uniform.
Right, okay.
The school, they're at school, I think they're at sixth form.
Well,
They don't need uniforms.
We've had them here in the garden last week, 3 girls, and they were from school. They weren't even from senior school, and they're in here sleeping.
Well, the ones that gather in Mosbury Walk Play area over here are Thomas More, because I recognise the uniforms.
They always.
Anyway,
Has communication been made to the school?
not about these. Not about these.
But
Well,
the
no, I
children
know
have-
after school gates it's not their responsibility, but they might be able to identify.
But they're what we're doing.
Yeah.
Well, what we said to the police, or I said to police, was if they were able to identify from the CCTV footage, you know, because they can look back over the last 31 days.
Yeah.
So if we were to know it was on a Friday, whatever night, they could have a look, and we do ask them to direct the camera, because they can do, to that area in the evening and generally elsewhere. Would they not then be able to pick out some stills from there and then approach the schools the police could and say, are these at your school? I have approached the police and suggested that, but had nothing back from them. Because that would have been an answer, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So can I say, if we agree to remove the bench and give it to Alistair,
Let's just do it one thing at a time.
Yeah,
Get rid of the
do
bench.
that.
We can't solve
That's the pool.
misbehaviour.
can we let's separately take up the issue with the police though about the lack of.
Yeah, I think
Because the worrying thing is what else could they end up doing, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, are we okay with that?
Okay.
Are
Are
we
you
happy
going
with
to
that?
go and remove it, Alistair, then?
If that's what it takes, just
Are
to
you gonna
move this
ask
issue on.
something?
You know what?
You're
If that's
foul.
what
You're
it
foul.
takes.
Alistair's got a low boredom threshold. No, it's more than that. You're trying to get this issue.
I mean, I can talk to the borough about removing it, if that helps.
It is bolted down, isn't it?
I've no idea. It's just
Well, it's
sitting
never
in the
moved.
environment. It's never moved. so
It's not the one that's been moved.
No, that's the
That's the other
Palmer's
one.
bench, which is re-bolted down.
Right, okay.
I bet if I took an axe to it, you get the police around there quick enough then.
Our CCTV camera.
Let's take it up.
What are we going to do?
We're going to remove the bench and
so-
we're going to separately talk to the police about.
Do you want me to try and arrange to get that removed, or is
Yeah,
Alice going to volunteer?
I think if it's bolted down, we probably need a bit more professional support to get it
I
done.
think it is bolted.
You'll wait there.
A proper man in June,
Well,
be a professional.
Well, let's look into. We'll deal with it
I'll
separately.
talk to the
We've
borough
agreed to remove it. That's the key.
and I'll say it's quite urgent, see what we
Thank you.
do.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Otherwise Alice can do it.
Could I ask a question on, so we've got the Alistair, the bench removal. In terms of the police, when the policeman came here, he talked about keeping him informed of issues that he was keen to help.
Yeah.
That's right.
And if we've contacted and the lady's contacted and nothing's being done, I think as a council we need to go back to him and say, you said this, can you do?
Well, he has come back to me and said that they are doing extra patrols in that area, because I did say school time, not just in the evening. He said that they're doing extra patrols, but they've never actually been there when they've actually found anybody around.
But it
So
sounds,
they-
if I can just say, if they're there tonight, just ask him very kindly to go and look at the footage from this evening, from the CCTV, and almost certainly they will see them on there.
Well,
I
you
think
can only
they are
see
aware
part of
that
it.
If it's not too dark.
The police have got a Facebook page where and there was a post, I think about a month ago, where they did go there and they did see 3 or 4, but obviously once the police arrived they ran off, and he did make this big post on Facebook, so I thought, oh, good, something's, but ever since then there's never been no patrols.
Okay, I'll
We'll follow
say
it up.
that.
We'll follow it up. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
Anyway, the main thing is the bench is
Well,
gone,
okay,
so
then.
that should solve.
Thank you. Just going to move on, if that's all right. So
You
on
can
to,
say that the lady doesn't need to stay for the whole of the meeting.
you're welcome to.
Yeah.
Okay.
You may not get.
Philly could stay there.
Councillor Hyde.
Feel free to go.
Yeah.
Right. Item 5, financial matters. 5.1 to agree the bank reconciliations and any accounts of payment, which was
Can I
circulated.
finish that?
Sure.
Yes, so there are a few extra payments to go through, which are for St Mark's, office hire and room hire. So they're £188.33 and then £18, £9, £13. So the payments to be made this month are £83,079 and 8p, and that's because of the £75,000 we're now paying for the speed cameras. So that will help our finances to look a bit healthier in the sense of less money.
Well done
Makes
to the borough
sense.
for actually invoicing us.
Well, they did,
Within
they
the-
chased me. I know I asked them for them, but
Yeah, okay.
anyway, that's all.
Right, is everyone happy to agree the bank reconciliations and the accounts for payment? All okay with that?
Yeah.
Then,
So item 5.2 is to note that the Finance Advisory Group is due to meet in early December to consider a draft budget for next year. So that's myself, Catherine and Corinne.
yeah.
And we're now having the fun of trying to find a date when we're all available.
Well, Corinne has come back. I did give some dates out. End of November, really. I'm trying to give you plenty of time, Mark, to get the
I know, I've
paperwork,
replied.
so that we don't do it on the day of the meeting.
No.
Helps. So,
I haven't
there's, oh, you have?
Yeah.
Well, after I left, I guess.
Yeah.
So we're just down to Catherine. So this is going to be the
No,
end
she's
of...
replied as well.
Oh, is she? Oh, excellent. So is
But-
it one of those days? Oh,
No, it's
can't
different.
come back.
But we're going to try and meet, and
Okay.
we're trying to sort of work out what's okay, what's not okay for next year in terms of what do we want to try and do, what do we not want to try and do.
Yeah. So it's really just to put together a draft budget that
Right.
then you look at in January as a parish
Yeah.
council.
During the meeting, okay.
And then I've sneaked in the pay award,
Oh, yes.
Local Governments Association, because you just note that.
Yeah, and to be just for everyone's benefit, we have a policy of following the national agreement between NALC and the SLCC, the Society of Local Council Clerks. So we just go along with whenever they agree something, we go along with it as well. And did they give a rise? They gave a
£1,950
whatever.
this year and carrying on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. At least they've actually made the decision this year. occasionally they've...
Well, usually, there's been years when there's, I think what it is that they've taken the view that for a lot of parish council clerks, they are quite low paid. Not all, but some. And therefore they've decided to put across the board payment for everyone above grade 1 upwards.
Okay, everyone happy then with that comment about the pay award? And then, so we've talked about the financial advisory group. Item number 6 is to receive a report from the Borough Councillors. We've got one that Charlie sent in earlier. It's been emailed around to everybody.
Have people had it?
Yeah.
They have had it.
They have had it.
Yeah.
Can I just raise again, that was sent at 6:45. I was in planning meeting, don't get a chance to read it. And I've said that, I don't know how many meetings. Why can we not get it early to be able to read it ahead of the meeting?
Amazing. But
Yeah.
did everybody else get it at 6:45?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kempsey. If you could just put a note in the diary for
Maybe that's why I've seen it because I've gone. And then there's a report from Stephen.
Stephen, thanks for coming on
Can
tonight.
we take any comments on that?
Well,
at all?
sorry, are you okay to take comments,
Or
Wendy?
it's a speeding related thing actually.
Okay.
It's mentioned in this report, so do you want
Yeah.
that comment?
Please.
The comment is in the speeding paragraph and the average sampling of vehicles that they've looked at. I'm a bit concerned that an average speed of 37 miles an hour is only just on the enforcement thresholds, because in my book that means most people, no one's doing less than 30, right? So to average 37, to me at least, means an awful lot of people are doing an awful lot more than 37.
But this is the report from the police.
Yeah.
It's not out, it's
No, I
we're
know.
only forwarding onto you what the police have told us.
Correct, but what I'm challenging is if you sample 16,270 vehicles and get an average speed of 37 miles an hour, a hell of a lot of them are doing a lot more than 40. So I don't think that police response is particularly helpful. And I think it does underline, I know that there's other issues going on about the fact that we've got to do something about speeding. That's not a justification for doing nothing, which I know is not what you're suggesting.
No.
It's actually indicating that there is a problem there.
I mean, one wonders, how do you stop? It is your responsibility. We put all the precautions in, we put the speed limits in, how do you stop people's bad behaviour in driving? The only way our cameras that fine them, and that is not possible.
Yeah. Well, it is, because we put some in. So we
Well,
start chipping
we
away
put
at it.
average speed cameras,
We just keep chipping away at it. But anyway, so my comment is that this comment from the police highlights a problem, not the fact that there is no problem. They're trying to make out that there's no problem. And I say that does not justify
I don't think
that
anyone
statement
is
at all.
thinking there is no problem.
Yeah.
It's one of the main things that come up now,
Yeah.
next to potholes, trees and speeding. And at the end of the day, in a way we're lost at what else we can do.
Yeah.
It's people's bad behaviour. So, but other than putting cameras in, which
Yeah,
costs us, as you know,
Yes, absolutely.
we've limited on our wall fund. I mean, we've spent most of it now, but I'll take it back. I mean, we're always trying to deal with this matter.
Yeah.
But as I say,
Yes, I know. Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Again, we've made the comment that some people haven't seen that report, so we can't have a discussion in and around. Just saying that some people won't have seen it, so if you can, a little
I'll
gentle
ask him.
reminder.
Yeah, I think it's just time factor.
I know.
Can you just give us the main items on the report?
Sorry?
What were the main items?
I can tell you the main items. They the problems we had when we had that awful storm the other day and there was flooding in Larkway. We reported on that.
It wasn't just Larkway.
Well, it was that we got called out at 7:30 in the morning.
We had it in Dove Road up to the front doors, Dove Road and also Avon Drive.
Yeah. But the problem down at Larkway was an angular water problem. It was to do with the sewers. And it took us ages to get angular water to respond. I mean, we had our people out there. Charlie was out there as well as trying. It was just blowing the was up. But when you get the report, there is a full report in there, and we talk about the speeding, which you've already raised. Bus stops, following our request to bus stop at Avon Drive, Crescent, has been marked out and accessibly provided. We have asked for repairs to the bus stop at Tyne Crescent, which has broken glass. and for Stagecoach to have the latest timetables displayed. Pedestrian crossings, as you know, Charlie and I have put some water fund in to we've allocated funding for the new crossing at Waveney Avenue, but we're seeking to see if we can get a crossing down by the Pheasant, this end of Haven Drive, by the roundabout. Pond at Roxmead, well, it's the water level, but if we continue to get this rain, it's possible we'll be able to get the pump going again, because at the moment the water's too low. Tree work on Falcon Avenue.
You mentioned Foster's Brow.
Sorry,
Foster's Brow, the access road to the allotments.
yeah. Work is being organised for the resurfacing of the that approach, and then pavement repairs. We're pleased that pavement resurfacing is taking place across Brickhill, including the area on Kimbolton Road. I mean, they've done a huge stretch there. I can't think what that must have cost. And then like our surgeons. But I will ask Charlie if he can get it out earlier.
And Stephen, thanks for coming tonight.
Report secretary today.
Sorry?
Oh, we had a report.
Well, I sent it out. You should have it. You should have had it.
Yes,
When
I have
did you
seen
see
it.
Pretty soon as Stephen sent it to me.
Okay.
So it must have been early afternoon, wasn't it?
Today?
This morning.
Oh, right. I've been a
So, yes, so he's sent out a series of maps, and 4 of them, or 5 actually. Is that correct? Do you want to?
Just to summarise, Chair, the position is that the Ashby Road junctions have been a theme for since they were put in for various reasons. People speeding around them, and the abuse priorities for those crossing and coming up towards the leg of the junction. But it is nonetheless a priority road. I've discussed this in detail with Councillor Royden and the Highways officers, and the Highways officers have come with a proposal to put in traffic islands, traffic separation islands. Traffic separation islands, which will have the effect at least of separating the traffic, preventing people swinging wide as they turn left, which is commonplace. So that's the proposal. The plans are in front of you. If the parish council approves, they'll need to go back to the highways department to be assessed by the engineers to make sure that the dimensions are right and to make sure there aren't emergency vehicles to get through.
Does anybody else want to have a look?
Thank you, Steve.
Yes.
What I find amazing in a way is that the road's been built as designed. So it was designed in a way that, has resulted in this problem, hasn't it?
It's an extraordinarily bad design of road, yes. And normally a spine road has clear priority and wouldn't be subordinate to T-junctions, I described it. And roads off will be clearly marked. But on some of those T-junctions, it's very ambiguous. And very misleading, particularly the new drivers or people who are unfamiliar with this. And also the road markings for some of the turnings off Ashmead Road. Each one of which there's a couple of collisions in recent years.
Yeah. Okay. So, sorry, just making sure I understand what's being said here, Steve. So it's white lining.
Want to look at that?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Very easy.
So if you turn around,
Yeah, thank you.
and there's one on the back. So.
Right, okay.
Essentially, the new items are on the Ashmead Road junctions, the traffic separation items.
Right, okay.
I thought when we last discussed this, I might be wrong, that we talked about changing the priorities as opposed to putting islands in the way.
Yeah.
I think you are talking about,
That
well, actually-
second picture down, as Ashmead goes on to Ashmead and to the right goes to Grenadier, those traffic islands, I thought we discussed just changing the priorities to the main flow.
we did.
That was discussed, and this came up in conversation with Councillor Royden when we went through this, because it was raised by a resident who cycles out of Garlic Close and pointed out the difficulty of cycling out of Garlic Close if the priorities are changed in the way it's proposed. So this is a replacement suggestion in essence, which hadn't previously been addressed, or the possibility of traffic islands hadn't previously come up formally. So it's there for consideration. It's a recommendation. Certainly, I believe it's correct. I believe Councillor Royden believes it's correct. But it's for the parish council to make a decision.
Anyone got any comments or any questions on this?
Yes, I would have thought it should be there.
Other than it's not what we discussed. So the second picture that you've got there on Ashmead, to come round to Ashmead, that's the main road, and Grenadier is a smaller close. So the discussion we had was that that would come round with white lines at Grenadier to give priority to the traffic coming round.
Yeah.
And then the fourth picture that you've got there, again, Gala would have the double lines and the flow would continue round to Ashmead.
Yeah.
Because those bollards are just going to become then knocked
Yeah.
over all the time, like the ones on
Street.
Time Present.
Stephen, is that Highways recommendations? I
These
mean, they've been out to look
are
at
raised
it.
number highways.
The Highways now.
You wouldn't normally give a close priority.
Sorry?
You wouldn't normally give priority to a small close.
Exactly.
No, but I think if Highways, if
Well,
that is
the
their...
problem with the existing position is that the Ashmead Road is the subordinate road in each of the junctions, and people then drive, but don't drive accordingly.
But
So
they
it's a
don't.
question of overcoming. And the road markings and the traffic separation lines could be done separately. To change the priority, but then continue to have the traffic separation line, which isn't just a bollard. We'll have a sort of a curve and so on. And that will assist in stopping people swinging wide around junctions,
Okay.
which they essentially for me.
I think you're right about the main road being the one that has the priority. And Ashmead Road is the main road.
Do you want anyone else want to comment?
No, I think I agree with Paula actually.
So, I think our view, Stephen, is that collectively appears to be that we actually don't agree with this because,
Do you not agree with the markings and priorities, or do you not agree with the traffic separation lines?
well, I'm happy with the idea of an island, but not where they're located because, to all intents and purposes, Ashmead Road is the main drag through the estate.
This is the essence of the problem, it's how to solve it.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I totally agree with that. But
I think the issue was that because the road markings are so faded that you don't know whose priority is, especially if you don't go there often.
That's right.
And common sense dictates the main road would be the priority road, but actually that's not currently the situation. So I think we discussed, didn't we, that we would change the priority so the main road had the main road priority, and so it was quite clear.
Yeah.
But these markings are not changing the priority, and then you're putting the bollards in as well.
Well, you keep calling them bollards, they're not the traffic separation lines, they're quite
Well,
distinct from bollards.
Whatever they're called, they're in the middle of the road.
But there are two distinct problems. There's the priority problem, and which I've always recognised, and I agree with you entirely, the priority is wrong in those junctions. But there's equally the problem of speed and traffic, which would be exacerbated by changing the priority. And the danger is that they swing wide as they do on those columns.
That second picture there's been so many near and have been collisions that, like you say, having them bollards, islands, whatever, wouldn't hurt, would it?
But in my judgment, it would slow drivers down, because they have to negotiate a proper turning, rather than swing wide and get the across.
Well, yeah, the cars cut across.
Yeah.
so, I mean, can we take them one? If you take them one by one,
Yeah.
if we can. Look at the very top, the first one.
So I'm not sure which one you're using.
Sorry,
Stern.
This one's...
oh right, we've got 5, haven't we? So
Describe which one. I've got,
it's the one with Ashmead and Sturmer.
It's Ashmead and Sturby, yeah.
So that one, actually, I think is okay, because Ashmead does continue, and Sturmer is, by definition, it's a side road. It looks smaller.
It's very narrow.
So I think what you've got there looks fine. Having.
Same is true, I think, with Ribston and Margate.
Can we do one by one? I'm
Yeah.
confused on that. So the first one I think is fine. The second one with Ashmead and Grenadier is I don't like it because I think we've got to show the priority is Ashmead continuing with Grenadier being the offshoot, if you like. Having the islands is probably a good idea. If we could achieve Grenadier being clearly the offshoot and an island to try and keep traffic separate, that would be good. I don't know if it's possible to do the two things like that.
I don't see any differently.
Right. Okay. Is everyone happy with that idea for number 2?
Yeah.
Happy with Grenadier becoming the subordinate?
Yes. Yeah. So number 3 for Ribston and Margill, I think that's okay as well because Ashmead does continue through there.
Yeah.
It's a bit complicated at the moment because it's all just one big brick area. And having the markings, I think, is okay. There's no bollards, islands. Islands. I used the right terminology. So I think that's okay, Stephen. Is everyone okay with that?
Yes, excellent.
For number 4, Gala and Ashmead, which is the second bend as you go through the estate itself. Again, I disagree with the way it's laid out. I'm happy with, personally I'm happy with the islands.
Yes.
Is everyone happy with that, having islands on that corner junction? But the priority is Ashmead going through.
And Gala has
And Gala is
subordinate.
separate, yeah. And then we've got the 5th one, which I hadn't spotted, which is the Laxton Ashmead one. And again, Laxton is the offshoot.
Yeah.
And having the islands in the middle is fine. It will help there, subject to people not parking too near them. I don't know if they.
There are double yellows there.
Okay, so that wouldn't be a problem. Is that right?
But actually to help stop people parking by the bends.
Hopefully, yeah.
So
Okay, but I think the change of priority there to make sure Laxton is definitely the offshoot, and then Ashmead is the through road. Now I hear what you said about is that going to contribute to speeding, but I think it's just a balance between the incidents which we know about, the accidents that have happened on the one hand, because people get totally confused, and I just think personally I think it's better to have, as we've argued before, that Ashmead itself should be the through road with appropriate markings. Is that everyone happy with that?
Yes.
Can you feed that back? I mean, thanks, Steve. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
It's not something I'm personally willing to criticise. I'd have personally, if you left me, I'd have been roundabouts personally.
Yeah.
there's not enough space
Around
for
There's
them.
not quite enough space.
No,
No.
people will just keep driving over them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to highlight to us?
Nothing to say.
Any questions for Steve? Any comments?
When you say there's not enough space for a roundabout, I mean,
I've been around.
yes, I mean, the way roundabouts are designed these days are just a dot in a road.
They're not much more, but the circulation space around them needs to be certain dimensions. You've been cutting the corners.
They just go across them anyway.
Well,
They don't just go round them, they go across them.
except that these are marking junction, we know the purpose of them. The
Yes,
places
yeah,
we're talking
they're
about.
markings,
Marking a junction and a left and right turn.
Yes.
I mean, the ones we've got,
My understanding is it will not be, and we're also deal with the priority issue as well. My understanding is there isn't a dimension to cope. I mean, I'm happy to reopen that if you believe it's a runner, because it's whether or not they need to nibbling from the pavement and realign the pavement.
the ones on Brickhill Drive, I mean, they just go straight across them. The majority of people, they don't go around it, they go.
Can we leave that idea? Can we just try this one first? Is that okay?
I think that the summary is that the bollardy things, whatever they're called, is going to make people go round.
Yeah.
A mini roundabout is just a hurdle to drive over.
Yes.
So that wouldn't actually solve
Yeah.
the problem.
So, sorry.
What sort of island would it be though? Would it just be like a greenery or something? Or?
No, it'd have to be a mini round, which is simply a marking in the road. There wouldn't be space for anything.
And the bollards.
Well, they're on traffic lights, so they're mounted on a curb, so that then they could be lit.
So like
Much more
The islands.
the one on Tyne Crescent, is those little islands outside Thomas Moore, those
That's right.
like those, so those like that.
Can I just ask one point, Steve? If we do anything like that on a junction, is there a room for buses and any other large.
Well, that's one reason highways engineers, and you'll be asked to them to look at it.
Okay, anything else on this point? Anyone happy? Stephen, thank you very much indeed, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, take this up. Right, going to move on to item 7, to receive an update on the CCTV cameras in Woodlands Park and agree further action. And Sue, you covered it. No, you haven't covered it in your report. Oh no, mine you covered it in your report.
So as was agreed at the last meeting, we would establish a quote to replace the 3 cameras at the Owl Park. We don't know for certain about the other cameras until the Owl Park cameras are sorted, because there's a link between the two, and the box is out at the Owl Park. So the quote, the agreement we had at the last meeting was that I would try and get that sorted as quickly as possible. So I did circulate the quote, and I've had enough people come back to me to go ahead and accept the quote. So that is for £7,552, and that will include an aluminium box, which will be much less easy to damage than the plastic box that's currently there. So that will be done as soon as we can. That's it really.
Okay. Everyone happy with that? Question, Catherine?
Do we know how they were vandalised? Did they not pick up on the footage?
An air rifle, unfortunately, no, because once hit, it's out, so the box was taken out. There's a box above them, a plastic box, that was damaged first. So no, there wasn't any footage of who fired the air rifles that caused the damage. So no, I did ask that question. I did meet with the CCTV control officer down, and we met on site and looked at the cameras. And of course, in some ways, the good thing is the new cameras are constantly improving all the time in terms of the quality of the pictures that you get, and so in a way will at least enhance any future use they come into.
How many CCTV cameras are we actually responsible for replacing if they get vandalised or damaged? Is this the only ones, or we've got
No, we've got the 2 at the other end at Westrock Way End, so that's 5.
Right.
We've got the one on Waveney Green,
Right.
6. We've got 2 at the one at the allotment and 2 around the Scout Huts, that's another 3, that's
Right.
9.
So we've got total liability financially for all of those?
Well, they're insured, so I'm going to the insurance company and putting in a claim. The
Right.
problem we had is that they went down in July. We didn't know. It was only by chance that I went into CCTV to look at the issue about the bench. And so I asked to have a look what we could see with the other cameras. And so I said about the Woodlands Park ones, and the manager said, but they're the borough cameras, and we know that they are down. And so I said, well, actually, no, they're ours.
Right.
So
I was just
yeah.
more concerned about budget implications.
Lovely. And then there are also other cameras. We've got 2 on Brickhill Drive. One is a vehicle recognition number plate one, an ANPR camera, and the other one is a camera which faces the green area, so you're looking towards the Scout Hut. If you remember, we had issues a year or so ago with travellers on that area. So the 2 cameras at the Scout Hut look at the Scout Hut. There's a one looking at the allotments, and as I said at the last meeting, that camera's been useful. It picked up a serious assault on a woman, was picked up through the allotment camera because the van involved parked up there, and so that camera's able to pick that up, and also a couple of robberies where a van has actually gone up to Foster's Brown, parked up there and was picked up by the camera, because the camera actually looks down the driveway between the 2 gates at night, and then looks at the allotments during the day, so
Thank you,
it's
Sue.
been useful.
Worth bearing in mind. Okay. Any other questions on the cameras, CCTV cameras? Are you happy with that? Okay.
When are they going to be up and going then, running?
Well, we've accepted the quote, and so they'll do them as soon as they can.
Okay, going to move on to item 8, to receive the minutes of the October Planning Committee meeting. And any updates following?
They have been
Tonight's
circulated to everybody, and so has the planning agenda, but there is a couple of extra. Although I added the new planning agenda.
Is there anything to
circulated.
be added?
Well, no, the new one went out, updated.
So we don't have to talk about it unless people want to talk about it for these sort of things coming to the committee, to the council, if I can put it that way. So if you've received the report, I'm just trying to help move things along a bit. Is that okay, Peter? I mean,
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have questions about the planning committee, this is your chance. But if you don't have questions, we'll move on. I'm grateful for the planning committee for their work.
You're welcome.
Okay. Item number 9, to receive an update on the Neighbourhood Development Plan. So I've had a meeting, we've received the report back, the updated version of the draft plan back from the Borough Council with their comments, and then myself and a member of the little group, a local resident, we had a meeting with Dave Chetwin, our consultant, to go through the comments, and he's in fact sent back some updated comments. He's commented on the comments, and the next stage is, I think it's with me to do a bit of a further update, and then I'll recirculate it as soon as I finish my French homework. And then I'm hoping to then circulate it, once the groups have a look at it, then to get it round to all the councillors for a further review. I don't want to get you too excited, because it's not earth-shattering, but it's mostly about trying to protect the open spaces within Brickhill, trying to give a bit enhanced protection to some of the open spaces which are not currently designated as local open space. That's really, I think, the most significant parts of the plan. But hopefully we'll get it to you within a couple of weeks. Is that okay? That's my full report.
Can I ask a question? Will that be the final version for us to input to?
It's a final draft version. Before the next stage, one of the next stages will be to go out and try and do some consultation to residents, to then get further feedback, to then feed back into the plan again, and before it becomes a version which we then formally submit. So we need, at some point, we do need formal approval by the parish council on the plan. So,
Thank you.
okay, I can move on to item 10, Christmas tree light switch on.
Well, I'm not really going to say any more than's already in the note. The date is the 6th of December. The two schools, Scott and Brickhill, are involved. They're going to do singing songs and whatever else. And really what I want is perhaps to suggest that we have a couple of people to do some marshalling duties. Certainly I did it last time, effectively, largely I think myself and maybe one other. It gets quite dangerous. It's dark even with the tree lights on, and when we have Santa and a trailer and a vehicle driving on, and you have to have lots of children running around, and it is dark away from the tree, we do need probably a couple of people. The time, Santa's due to get there about 6 o'clock. Catherine, you're in charge of Santa, aren't you? Chipping him along. I thought I might try and halt him if he came too early. It's timing it, because obviously we don't want to finish the event and then all stand around waiting for half an hour for Santa to turn up. So my plan would be to switch the tree lights on as soon as we can, so probably about 5:45, give or take. Then let the children do their singing when the lights are on, so they're not trying to do it in the dark, and then try and time that so that then Santa can turn up. And if Santa arrived a little bit earlier, we could perhaps just halt him in the road till the children finish singing, and then bring him on.
So do you want to say 5 o'clock then for people to...
I said 6, but if you're going to have lights on,
well,
but Santa for 6.
we don't want too long.
So
no, but we need to be there for the switch on of the lights. And you said, when I asked you at the time, you said 6 o'clock.
for Santa.
No, that's for Santa.
Yeah, but that isn't what I asked. I asked.
Oh, right. Well, if you look in the notes, it does say 5:45. That's when we aim to switch the lights on. give the children maybe 10, 15
So
minutes
when you
to...
want people to turn up to help?
I'm happy to.
Well, I would think if people start arriving by about 5:30 at the latest, give or take. Yeah, that's
Just leave it
okay.
as a
Have we
Tuesday,
got-
right?
Yeah.
Have we got jackets or anything that can be worn so
Well,
people know?
probably I can buy some high-vis jackets. I've certainly probably got a couple in the
I've
office.
possibly got one, but I think we need
if
to have
anybody's-
something on.
Yeah, you just really need a high-vis vest, don't you, really?
I can definitely. I will.
Yeah. It's really after the children have done the singing and when Santa is coming on and going off,
Yeah.
because that's when we have the
Yeah.
problems with children running around
Yeah.
on a dark green. He has to come on, then he has to turn round and go back off again because I can see a trailer on a vehicle, and that last year I felt was quite dangerous because parents are not controlling them.
You would hope parents would have control.
It doesn't
Well,
work like that.
We need to deal with it, yeah. I think if we turn up at 5, I'll need to turn at 5:30.
Yeah, turn up at 5:30. We'd usually have some little spotlights there, but the aim would be to put those lights on as soon as possible. We always have somebody from the borough to do that in case they don't work, of course. We are going to manage with the lights that we've got. I'm assured by the borough that they are all working, but the tree grows, of course, every year. And usually I buy about £500 more of lights, about 5 sets. Problem we've got now is those lights, the new ones, do not connect as the old ones did to the current sets. We've got to buy new tag on. What I've been trying to get the borough to tell me is whether there is the option on that post or mount at the tree to have another set plugged in. If there are, then we could have ordered more and plug in. If that isn't the case, we're going to have to manage with those lights until a decision's taken to replace them. And of course that's a big decision because there's probably about £2,000 or £3,000 worth of lights that go on already. That's why we just tag on. So we will manage with what we've got. There may be apparently some spare sets. There were, I thought, but again I need the borough to confirm. It'll be £1,346 to put the lights on and off. I've told them the dates and I'll chivvy along to make sure that we need the lights on, working ahead of that 6th of December. Thank you for Catherine for helping organise the Lions. And the other thing in there, can we get an agreement to make a donation? Last year we did £150 to the charity. Well, it went to the Lions, but they told us which charity they were collecting money for. I thought Catherine might know who it was.
Just prostate cancer.
What is it?
Just prostate cancer
That
that
was
day.
Prostate. That was last year, was it?
What's this year, do you know?
Do you know this?
We haven't allocated
Right.
the charities, so I would know by the time we come to the next.
But because the reason I'm asking now is because we don't meet again until January. And
If we agree in
obviously,
principle to give a
Yeah.
donation, once we know what the charity is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that okay?
okay.
Yeah.
And that's
So
it really.
The charities we've got this year that are working with us, we've got Charms, we've got a lot of scouts who are going to the jamboree, who are coming to collect towards the jamboree. We've got, who else do we have? We have prostate cancer, we have guide dogs for the blind. All the charities we collect for are local charities, and Bedford, so the money is used in Bedford, by like for the scouts, those young people are Bedford based. We have the what else are we doing? We've got the hearing,
Death.
yeah, yeah, people, yeah. So far, yeah.
So last year what happened is we were given an account details
Yes.
for the Lions charity account, and that's where the money went. So it didn't go to a particular charity, it went into the pot, and then the Lions allocate the money out.
So what we've done this year and last year, because we've got lesser Lions members, we now partner with a charity. So on the day we have a 60-40 split. So what we make on the round, the charity takes 60%, we take 40%. But our 40% might still end up with the charity, because throughout the year we get requests from different people for different things. Like we used to give money to the Guild House for like when they did dances and things like that. And we get young people who need wheelchairs, we buy them or contribute something towards it. So all the money we collect will still be charitably donated to somebody in Bedford throughout the year.
Right, but we're
And we're looking for
give-
more members, so if people
Nice.
fancy.
So you're agreeing to give.
We've agreed to give £150, so, and we'll sort out the details later.
It's an inflation year.
I was
Come on,
going to
cost of
say, it's
living.
that 10% inflation rate
We're trying to hold inflation down in Brickhill.
swimming against the
Right.
But no, I only said 150 because that's last year.
Yeah.
You can say what you
Right.
like. And just, so what are you saying?
I'm saying, can we move on to item 10?
Well,
11?
so
Can we not increase that with the
No,
cost of
cost of living
issues?
crisis, mate.
So, are you happy then that once the event has happened, I make that donation £150?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Yes,
Yeah.
ahead of January is what
And
I'm
then
trying to
think
get
about
at.
it for next year,
Yes.
what we're going to do. But this year, 150.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
declaring interest, by the way.
Yeah. Can we move on, please, to item 11, correspondence?
Yeah,
Again, we've got a
circulated.
list of all the
Yeah.
various emails we've received.
Correct. There was a request if we could put lighting across Waveney Green. So, because a lady walks her dog and can't see where she's going in the dark. I pointed out, well, two things really. Number one, there's no power on the green, so it's very difficult. Number two, I said it would be the borough who would have to, pay for any power that was there, and I think the borough probably trying to avoid any more expenditure on energy. And I did suggest you can also buy those little head torches, can't you?
Doesn't she go out with a torch?
Well, you can buy ones that if you're walking
But
your
also
dog.
she walks around the green, she
Yes.
sleeps.
Well, I did suggest all those things.
I would walk by, along the edge, rather than going through it.
Why does she go across?
I don't know, but I'm just reporting.
Yeah,
what
anyway,
the
so we've
member
got
replied.
the correspondence. Are
And
there
then
any...
there's a lady who attended about the bench, which
Yeah,
has been
sorted.
sorted.
Right.
So
Any other comments on the...
Just go back about the power. I mean, there is power on the green.
There is some.
There is some.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Well,
There is
Where
some.
is the power on the
Yeah.
Well,
green?
there's a whole bunch of streetlights down one side of the green anyway.
But there's
And,
none.
not across the green.
and there's also power that we put into the Christmas tree. So there is power.
But there isn't
We
across the green.
we could be slightly more innovative if we felt it was going to be helpful.
Well, you could dig the whole green up and put
No,
power.
but we could look at solar lights.
We could do.
There are other options. I felt the reply was a little bit dismissive, to be fair.
Well, gosh.
Whether we wanted to look at lights on the green is
Yeah.
a different issue.
Yeah.
Can I comment? I know that lights would be good, but have we considered whether the residents who live, whose houses will be lit, would appreciate the extra lighting in the yards? Because that would be the other impact, isn't it?
That'll attract people sitting there more.
Well, it might do. It might
Right.
dissuade
But
them.
I think it's a point for future consideration. But the minute we haven't got anything in the budget for lighting for a start, we have to decide in principle whether you would want lighting. Then you've got to go down the road saying what type of lighting, how much will it cost, and then all the practical aspects of it. And to be honest, my recommendation would be to walk around by the road where there are lights already.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
You know, but
I wouldn't
that'd be my
walk across
personal
there.
view on it.
I wouldn't walk across.
So, any other questions or any other correspondence? Have you all seen it, taken it all on board?
No.
Two of us, I think, were at the Town and Parish Council Network meeting in Borough Hall recently, Alistair and myself,
I was there.
and I was there too.
Jolly Goody was too. Where was everybody else?
Was it a lot of
Wasn't
cake? Was there a lot of cake?
There were biscuits and tea.
We don't have, do
But
we?
I
We
do,
don't get
you know,
coffee at once.
it was actually quite a good meeting in the terms of, there was a, what do they call it, like a market street thing, with a lot of different organisations were present. Many of the voluntary organisations were there as well before the actual main meeting. That was very useful to having a chat to some of those groups. And then the meeting itself was sort of vaguely interesting with some health people who I've never heard of before, but apparently seem to be there to support the GP type practices. So I do recommend that people, can go along to those sessions at the Borough Hall. They're about a couple of times a year normally, subject to...
That's the first one for ages, isn't it?
It is.
COVID,
Yeah.
That's the second one, because the first one they cancelled because there wasn't enough take-up. So they did another one before that and I know some of the market stall holders turned up and no parish councillors turned up. Or borough councillors.
It was a fair turnout for parish council.
No, this time round.
Only 2 from Brickhill.
Yeah, this time round, I'm saying the first meeting which they initially held.
And the other thing to add, I think you sent round, Sue, the Bedfordshire Rural Community Charity AGM on the 21st of November, 5 o'clock till 6 o'clock, very early in the evening for a meeting, but for those who can make it.
Can I, since we are a parish,
Yeah.
do we get any input from BRCC as a parish?
We have, they've done things for us in the past. We've used their rave bus, not for raving. Yeah. So they've been useful to us. You know, they provide services. Obviously, they normally cost something, but they're a charity and they are, you know, about community engagement and they do some really, you know, useful things. They're involved in the community orchard at Old Warden, for instance.
No, I'm not saying they don't do anything. I'm just thinking that is there more we could get out of them since we're a parish? Because since I'm just thinking they have social prescribers, and I know we don't have one assigned to our area because we do have needy families who could do with the social prescriber. So why don't we get some of that service since we are a parish? Is what I'm asking.
I'll tell you what, on the 21st of November, come to that meeting.
21st is during ballot.
Okay. And, well,
Could
perhaps
you-
for those of us who can go along, we can inquire a bit more about what they could do for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Sue, anything? Review of outstanding matters that's circulated as well?
Yeah, the only thing I've highlighted is this issue about the pig park, and it is underway. Carving of this replacement pig is
Is he taking the
underway.
pig away?
No. No. There was a bit of debate about whether the pig was going to be moved or not. The idea is taking photographs of the
Okay. existing
pig, and he's going to carve a new pig from the photographs and then replace it.
Okay.
Doesn't need the old pig, so that's going in the bin.
We can give it to Alistair to burn.
That's it. And then he will do the refurbished work on the other pig
Right.
when he
Okay.
goes down and does it. That's it.
So that's it, is it?
That's it.
Anything else on that? No?
No.
Okay, thank you. And then item 13, to agree the dates for meetings next year, next...
You know the fourth of May's election?
I know. Yeah, so I've dropped an email out earlier. Well, I've dropped an email out saying, according to our standing orders, we shouldn't be meeting until the new councillors have been signed up, basically. So we need to be meeting the following week. And
Well, you can meet the following Thursday, but not with me because I've got another meeting.
so I think if Sue can inquire what dates are available, both in your diary and in terms of rooms.
Sorry, have we got the parish council elections as well on that day?
Yeah, of course.
On the 4th of
Yeah.
May. So some of us may not be here anyway.
Indeed. Yeah, it's our standing orders say we can't have the meeting on that day. So if Sue can inquire, but from your own point of view and also from a room point of view, and then basically probably any day in that following week, ideally.
Well, there are rules about how soon you have to meet after the nominations and whatever.
It's within 14 days of acceptance of office.
Yeah.
What's the word I said in my email to you?
It can be held on or within.
Yes.
So, yeah. On or within the date.
Yeah, it's
14th.
on or within 14 days following the day on which the council elected take office.
That's it.
So you don't technically take office until you've been elected. And I don't know whether it also counts. I don't know.
We can't vote until you signed up, though.
No, you can't. Okay.
Okay.
So we need to rearrange that day.
Yeah,
The other
I
dates.
simply put it in there so at least we add it in and then we can fit it around.
Are the other dates okay? I'm happy with the other dates. Any objections?
Well, none of them clash with things like Easter or coronation or any of the obvious things I could think of.
Right. We accept that then. Give that. And okay, thank you very much. And last item, date next meeting is on the 5th of January here at 7:30. So I'd like to wish you all a very happy Christmas.